So I was sitting here tonight, just kind of going through Instagram and social media like I was after that terrible England loss, much like most people, just trying to distract myself. And I got onto the side of TikTok where it was like everyone's trying to grow, content creation strategies, content creation hacks, all that kind of stuff. Then you got the personal stories. And something I've been seeing really recently, especially like not just in the comments, but everywhere, is people saying like, "Oh, I've been trying so hard. I've been doing the thing that you're saying for so long, and I'm just stuck. I'm stuck at this fuse." And like most people, right, I too am trying to grow my social media. I think that is becoming the way to go at the moment. So very, very understandably, people are trying to build that up. However, one thing I just really despise is when people feel like they deserve views with nothing other than posting, right? And I think people forget, one, work hard, right? This still requires you to work hard. Anything you do to get to a level that people aren't at the moment requires you to work hard. Anyone can just post, right? Anyone can just post. But what does it mean to actually work hard at posting? I feel like that's something that people forget. So you see all these strategies. I know I'm not the only one. People are saying like, oh, someone comes on TikTok saying, oh, you're doing this wrong. First of all, gurus, TikTok strategist gurus, none of their shit ever fucking works, right? Because their most viewed videos is them talking about how they get views, except every other video of theirs doesn't get views. Like, what's that about? Anyway, there's only a few people I've seen where it's consistent. However, you will go onto these videos and they'll be like, oh, I've been doing this for a week and I'm still stuck in that 200 to 300 view jail. And they're like, the algorithm doesn't support me. It's not the algorithm. It's really not the algorithm. It's people. The algorithm is people, right? People are watching your video and saying, I don't like it, and I move on. Or people are just not watching your video. They're swiping on. The algorithm is people. What people seem to forget, and it really frustrates, I'm having a bit of a rant here, right? But what people forget is that the algorithm is people, and TikTok is trying to support you because it wants people to stay on the platform. Any social media platform wants you to stay on the platform. So they are going to try their best to find the most entertaining thing. They're going to give you tips to try and make more entertaining content, because entertaining content keeps you on the app. Keeping you on the app shows you more ads, or more time spent on the app potentially makes more money. More money means they can do it all over again, right? The algorithm actually wants you to stay. When we speak about the algorithm, they actually want you to stay. The issue is everyone feels like they deserve the algorithm. Everyone feels like they deserve views, and it's just frustrating. I think it's very indicative of the fact that this generation, I guess you can say, or not even this generation, because it's cross-generational. You've got adults in their 50s and 60s trying the same thing. You've got people in their 30s. You've got people who are teenagers. You've got kids who are doing the same thing. Very understandably so. It's definitely the way to go. But across this media content, no one's working hard. And I have a few theories as to why that is. One, everyone's a guru, right? But most people aren't doing it for the love of the game like they used to, right? There's no big names that I can name right now that are doing it like they were back then. You had the KSIs, the Logan Pauls, the Mr. Beasts, the Dash EXPs, right? These are some names that I'm familiar with, but these are staple names in their communities, right? Look what KSI has done. But these guys were doing it for the love of the game. They enjoyed making content creation, because back when they posted, it wasn't a paid platform the way it is now. And now everyone's doing it for money, but no one really sees the hard work that some of these people that are there aspiring to be like do. And don't get me wrong, it's very easy to see that when everyone says, oh, you can make 10k a month doing this, you can make 10k a month doing that. Oh, if you're not making 100k a month doing this. But these same people aren't making that money. They're saying, oh, well, I make 100k a month in revenue, but their costs are 997,000. So they're not really making that money, but they're going to tell you they make 100k, right? Because it creates views. It creates like a type of story that people want to relate to, or necessarily are dreaming for. So I feel like gurus are adding on to that, where it's like, it's so easy that I shouldn't have to try hard. And if I'm trying hard, I'm not really doing it quite well. Or if I'm not paying attention, or if I'm not putting out value, you're doing it quite well. I think the difficulty I have with posting on social media and trying to build that up is very simply, how do I bring about value? Right? What am I doing? What value do I bring? How do I bring that value out? What value do I have to offer? I'm still learning that, admittedly so, right? But I'm not sitting here being like, oh, this video deserves 1,000 views because I've posted 3 times this week and da 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 da. No, it's very simply of, okay, I've posted this. Did this work? Okay, no, I must not have created enough value because people would have stayed if they felt it was worthwhile. People would have clicked like and they would have commented or they would have subscribed or they would have followed if they felt like I was creating enough value. And if I'm consistently creating that value, it's more likely to happen. And it's just like, it's so frustrating to see it because it's so often, and it's so often. I feel like it's genuinely ruining the landscape of content creation. I feel like it's putting people in a pedestal and giving them egos that don't allow them to actually develop as people and develop in their creativity. Now it's just about of posting. And I've recently taken a step back to try and create more value. Like, what am I actually doing? What am I actually really want to do? And this is, this page is just rants and shit. So it might not be relevant for a lot of things. But yeah, and the second reason I think this is just like people are just not working hard is very simple as well. The scope, right? People are looking at the large picture without memorizing the small thing. I feel like we're in a day's age where we don't respect the money as much. We don't respect £1,000, and understandably so, right? Like £1,000, when you're someone who has no bills and has no money, £1,000 is a lot of money. But because everyone talks about how little £1,000 is, because when you have those bills and you have that thing, then it doesn't seem like a lot of money. But one thing people forget is usually when you're doing this content stuff, most people are doing it alongside their full-time job until they can potentially go full-time with the content. But what people forget is they're still getting £1,000 extra a month, right? In order for you to take home an extra £1,000 a month, you have to increase your salary by 12 grand, right? And in the UK, that doesn't happen. There's not really many promotions that will jump you 12 grand. Right, that's usually a couple years worth of work. So that extra £1,000 is fantastic, and it's not even 12 grand. It's actually more than that because if you're getting about take home, the difference between 35k and 45k is £400 after tax. When you're in the UK, right, it's £400. I think 35 is 23 and 45 is 27 or something like that, and 40 is 30, 25, 26. Along those lines. But it's just like a massive issue where, because people forget just the value of the smaller things and they're looking at the bigger picture, it's so much harder to see the results of what you're actually doing, right? Because people are looking like, oh, I haven't got to 1,000 so far away, but they forgot yesterday they didn't make one, and then they didn't make two, and then they didn't make three, and then they didn't make four, and then suddenly, oh, 100, it's only £100 though, it's not enough. And I'm like, well, you made £100 extra. Like, you made $100 extra. That's more money than you had before. That's £100 more than you had before. That's your gas for a couple of weeks. That's your money. For me, that's 2 weeks of shopping, right? That I haven't got to spend. That makes a difference to my life. And I feel like because of those factors, because of that reasoning, people are forgetting what it means to work hard, because everyone feels like working hard isn't a thing anymore. You shouldn't do that, right? And I've been victim of that as well. I don't want to work hard, but I understand you have to work hard. There's a difference. On the other side of that, because of the scope, because of everyone's making 100k, 10k, the small wins don't feel good enough. And sometimes you really have to do that. Like, one thing I really enjoy is like seeing a small content creator grow and really just like enjoy the fact that they're growing. So there's this guy I watch on YouTube. He plays Marvel Rivals. I think his name is Toner. I'll find it if I can, just link it. He makes great Marvel Rival videos. I really enjoy it. Now, he hasn't got the biggest subs and he doesn't get the most views, but you can see that he's getting more comfortable with his editing style. You can see that he's still having fun with it. And I'm like, this guy deserves to blow up, but he's got to keep working. He's got to keep putting it out there, and he is, and it is working, and he's doing consistent, provided entertainment content. Like, his value that he does is entertainment. Whereas you got people like me who are just posting on my Marvel Rivals page of just clips of the gameplay. And like, okay, what value does that bring? Are they amazing clips? Have I taught someone anything? And I'm not. I'm just kind of posting to maintain the consistency of posting, as opposed to creating value. So I'm not mad that I'm not getting views. Obviously, more views would be nice. But I'm not being like, oh, I deserve more views, which I feel like so many people are kind of sitting there doing. And I think that's the wrong mindset to have. I think a lot of people probably feel the same way. And it's just strange because, look, as much as I believe content creation is the way to go, I feel like a lot of people's value will now come from their presence and their online, something that I'm really trying to build up as well. I also feel like people forget that you have to work hard to do that. And that's quite annoying to witness. But yeah, that was, you know, pretty much it today. Just a bit of a run. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Safe.